So Jimmy Kimmel's going back on the air, and Disney has decided to make sure that you all know they don't give a crap about you. They don't care what you think. There's no decency that Disney is going to mandate for its employees who are talents on the air. Look, Jimmy Kimmel's a jerk. He's not funny. But you have to remember something. These communists love him, okay? These left-wing loons are big fans of Jimmy Kimmel because of what he does. Now, I said this on radio. Clay agreed with me. We knew it. He was coming back on the air. They weren't going to just boot him. They weren't going to just totally cancel his show. And if anything, I think what we've seen is that Disney was the execs were doing what they could to protect him from the idiotic stuff that he would have said if he were allowed to go back on the air right away. And I just want to clarify something, too. It's not that he made an unfunny joke. What he did was lie about a political assassination to attack people who were grieving over the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It wasn't a joke that didn't hit. It wasn't a joke that went too far or that was too soon. It wasn't even a joke. It was just, screw you, right-wingers. I'm going to say that you're to blame, your side of the aisle, your political ideology is to blame for the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a fellow right-winger and one who was a tremendous inspiration to millions and tens of millions across the country. But this is an important reminder of where we are right now. The libs haven't changed. And I don't just mean Jimmy Kimmel, I mean the people making these decisions. Sure, right now, they may be more aware than they have in the past of the need not to just openly antagonize in every way they possibly can half of the country. They may be more aware of that, but that doesn't mean that they want fair play or that they're fair-minded at any of this. No, unfortunately, the same people who are running cover for the Biden administration and who did everything they could, and I mean in the media, the same executives who, in many cases, in many places, were supportive of the efforts to lie about Donald Trump and destroy him in his first term, they're still calling shots. They're still very powerful. And what they're doing right now, I would call a tactical retreat. It's not a change in ideology. It's not a mea culpa no. They're just easing up a little bit right now, and I think they're just waiting for when their team is in charge again. They think, I'm sure, probably under a President Newsom and maybe a Vice President AOC. But that is the belief that they have. They are waiting to push this stuff once again and to make everybody on the right suffer the consequences of just saying things that are true. I mean, with COVID, and I'll get into this with the YouTube situation in a second. Today, with all the things going on in the news cycle, it's easy to sometimes lose sight of the various battles that are going on. One of them is the battle for life, which is happening day in and day out. And it's one that we have an absolute obligation, those of us who are pro-life, to do whatever we can to help, to save as many lives as possible. This is where the Preborn network of clinics comes in. Preborn is doing so much every day to try to bring more babies into this world by helping mothers who are in crisis. The Preborn clinics provide free ultrasounds that introduce mother to baby, and that moment so often just changes everything. Over 350,000 babies have been saved through this life-giving work, and so many mothers have an entirely new outlook and a love in their heart because of the work that Preborn has done, and now the beautiful baby boy or baby girl that they get to be with in this world. For just $28 a month, you can help save a life every month. $28 is the price of that free ultrasound for those moms. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, say the word baby, or go to preborn.com/buck. That's preborn.com/BUCK, sponsored by Preborn. But with COVID, it was very much the case that not only were they censoring for telling the truth. And that's what the right has been dealing with for so long. And it's not even just censorship, too. They've debanked us. They've kicked us off the internet, kicked us off of Amazon web servers. They've done so many different things that have really weaponized institutions and platforms and the media apparatuses to try to destroy us. And they freak out about the First Amendment when Jimmy Kimmel's off air for 3 days or 4 days. That's it. The guy's making $16 million a year. He's not missing a paycheck. He's not missing a meal. He's fine. More than that, he's not even really missing a week of shows. And now they're going to put him back on the air. But he was never there to make everybody laugh. He is there for the amusement of left-wing libs who want the other side. They want the other Republicans, Trump voters to be mocked. Even if it's not funny, they just go there. And this is what you have to understand. It's very important. The job of whether it's Colbert or Kimmel or who's the other really unfunny one who was from SNL? I can't remember the guy's name. But these jerks, their audiences aren't expecting brilliant comedy from them, obviously. That's not the point. Seth Meyers, by the way, that's the guy. Their audiences want to go there to laugh in a nasty way at the other side. So all that matters, they go, ha ha, see? Jimmy Kimmel saying Trump voters are dumb, ha ha. That's really, when you understand that's the mentality, then of course it makes sense that they're on these shows and they're doing these things, and that's where they are. I'll talk to you now here in a second about something that's deeply frustrating me, and I know some of you are going to watch this on YouTube, although not nearly as many as you as would if I hadn't already been shut down from YouTube so many times in the past. I've had multiple YouTube, I've had strikes, I've had algorithmic blocking, I've had channel suspensions. This is why it's just impossible with these people. So, this is why this is mostly an audio show, because at least the podcasts, they don't have the same kind of control over. But I put a video up because why not? Some of you watch it on YouTube. I'm hoping more of you will watch it on YouTube. But they've been completely unfair to me for years. And I sound like Trump, very unfair, but they have been. Totally, YouTube has been completely unfair to me as a solo entity stretching back now for like a decade. Anyway, I'll get into that in a second. Our friends at Birch Gold Group want you to own gold for the first time if you're not already a gold customer. Keep in mind the price of gold has been a near steady increase for the past year and shows no signs of slowing down. Look, until September 30th, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, request an info kit now. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Plus, Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, and you're still eligible for a rebate in precious metals of up to $10,000. Diversify with gold like I do from Birch Gold Group. Make now your first time to buy gold. Take advantage of a rebate of up to $10,000 when you buy by September 30th. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Claim your eligibility today. Text Buck, B-U-C-K, to 989898. So, YouTube has come out and said, you know what? We were actually censoring conservatives, and maybe we shouldn't have been doing that. And to this, I just say, we will take what we can, where we can, or when we can, where we can, from the libs on this stuff. Mark Zuckerberg now of Facebook is, oh yeah, we censor too much. They're all saying this. It's all very similar to what ABC has done here. Like I said, it is tactical retreat. It is not an admission of guilt and a promise never to do this again. In fact, unfortunately, I have to tell you, I think they are almost certain to do this again. I think they are almost certain to, just when the timing is right for them, to push this stuff and to do a lot of the same kinds of censorship that we had seen before in the past, and with the same aggressiveness too. There's no way that they are going to turn on their adherents who are left wing, and they demand scalps. It's just a question of when they demand them. It's very frustrating. This is why we have to keep building the conservative infrastructure out there as much as we can, whether it's platforms, companies, everything. We have to keep going, because right now I think is if anything, it's just a ceasefire in the cancel culture that the right is subjected to. It is not a truce. It is not a treaty. It's not over. They're going to come back and do all the same stuff that they've done before. And this is why the Jimmy Kimmel thing is just so funny. They get a guy with bad ratings who's off the air for a few days, and we're all supposed to think the Constitution is over and Trump has weaponized the government. Meanwhile, under Biden, they actually weaponized the government. on speech issues. They went to Facebook and were telling people on an individual basis, individual accounts. Same thing with Twitter. Twitter was even worse. That was one that I was very aware of. They wanted to shut people down, tell them to stop allowing this over at Twitter, stop allowing this message to get out there. And to this, I just say, that's as bad as any First Amendment suppression we've seen in my lifetime. Free speech suppression we've seen. And I mean real violation of the First Amendment. I don't care if the Supreme Court said they were wrong. 6-3 on this when they were wrong. What the Biden administration did was absolutely terrible. And I still want everyone to know that this is going to be the fight going forward, because ultimately it's about power. Narrative, speech, dissemination of information, this all relates to power. So the Democrats are always going to be obsessed with it. They're never going to change their mind on any of this stuff. And we just need to be very aware of what's really going on here, which is they are just waiting for the right moment to turn the screws on us again and shut us down. And if you have a Democrat administration, they'll redo all of this. And YouTube, you can't trust these guys with their algorithms and how stuff is going. There are people in the back end making all kinds of determinations about who's seeing what and how they're seeing it and everything else. So you got to be very aware of what's going on here and not be lulled into any false sense of security that they're not going to make the same kind of moves. They absolutely make the same kind of moves. And with Jimmy Kimmel, I just say that they've just spat in the face of half the country, and they think they're going to get away with it over at Disney. It's funny. They had people saying they were going to cancel their Disney Plus from the left. I think Howard Stern, man, that guy's just become such a little old woman. Really, it's just like a cringing little old woman. He's just, he's always, this guy was supposed to be some free speech warrior. I also disagree with that whole notion. And somebody who, like making fart noises on the radio and saying like crass things about sex, like, oh, you're such a free speech pioneer. Get out of here. It's just audio pornography. I've never been a Howard Stern fan at all, so I don't get it. I'm sorry, I was busy being a Rush Limbaugh fan. I don't understand the Howard Stern worship at all. I don't sign on for that. So I never have, even when I was a kid. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, he canceled his Disney Plus. So I guess he's going to uncancel it now because Jimmy Kimmel's back on the air. It's preposterous. Our sponsor here is Paradigm Press. Look, I think there's a big opportunity coming up for Main Street investors. That's you and me. And it's going to be wrapped up in the next level of AI advancements. President Trump and his administration are working hard to get all the nonsense out of the way when it comes to AI and make sure that we are number one globally with AI. And I think we're going to see substantial stock market gains in defense, healthcare, energy, manufacturing, and more. You got to know where, though, and this is what's so important. A lot of Americans are going to miss out on the biggest gains. This is why I've launched a brand new financial intelligence project called Money and Power. It's an e-newsletter. I handle the power part, politics, the key players, titans of industry, and I've got a great financial analyst team, including my brother, who's an Ivy League trained hedge fund guy, and we're making great calls and writing really fascinating analysis. So go check this out. I explain all the details in a video. Insider2025.com, which you can go watch. That's Insider2025.com, paid for by Paradigm Press. That's the show for today. Shields high.